this is Brother Chooch for Thinking Out Loud About the End Times. This is Night Watch, a late night fellowship for those who are watching for the soon. This sin, filth world that we currently live in, and for us to meet Him in the clouds, and then for Him to take us to the place that He has been preparing for us so that we can be with Him forevermore. Thank you for joining us. Please tell me if you could hear me, and I really hope tonight there's no buffering, because the last couple nights ago I have a lot of buffering and it was really difficult. Okay, so far so good. I can't guarantee you that. Okay, so the sound is a bit low for some, so let me just check one thing and then we'll proceed. Let me just check my volume, or check which microphone here. Hopefully it's using this. Okay. We're starting to get some buffering. Let's see here. Yeti. Supposed to be using Yeti, so let's see, Yeti. So it's got the right microphone. So for those who hear it on the low side, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, we gotta try to move forward. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Just crank it up full blast if you can. If not, I don't know what to do. So anyways, I want to just talk about what's going on right now. And we talked about the other day the rubber band. The rubber band is stretched. And it's stretched to the point where it's really tense. And you ask yourself the question, how much longer can this rubber band hang in there before it snaps? Now, what happened today depends on how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from the believer's point of view, you should fight it, because this is the very thing I believe that can seal our fate, which is we're going to be harpazoed. But the fate of the United States, I believe, is in jeopardy for what they did today. And Israel themselves, I believe, they're skating on thin ice. For instead of trusting in the Lord for His protection, they are doing what they have done oftentimes in the future in the Old Testament, and will be doing in the future to a degree, is basically whoring with other nations instead of relying on their God. And when you read what the White House has posted, and I'm not going to read but I am on whitehouse.gov, and from the briefing room, they posted the statements and releases July 14th, 2022, the Jerusalem, USA, Israel Strategic Partnership Joint Declaration. And there's several things in this posting that's interesting. But there's one kicker in it that I think we need to look at. But I'll get to that a little bit later. So it starts off with the leaders of the President Biden and Prime Minister Lapid met in Jerusalem on the 14th of July, 2022, and adopted the following joint declaration on the U.S. Israeli strategic partnership. The United States and Israel reaffirm, and they use that word a couple times here. Remember how it talks about confirming the covenant with many? They use the word here, reaffirm, which is very similar. And I'm not saying that the covenant had been confirmed, because that's going to be done with the Antichrist. And I highly doubt that Biden is the Antichrist. I think Satan could do a better job of picking his man than Biden. No offense, Biden. But I don't think he meets the criteria of Antichrist. So, the United States and Israel reaffirm the unbreakable bonds between our two countries and the enduring commitment of the United States to Israel's security. Our countries further reaffirm, hear this word again, that the strategic U.S.-Israel partnership is based on a shared interest and true friendship. Seriously? Hard to believe that this administration has true friendship with Israel. Furthermore, the United States and Israel affirm that among the values the countries share is an unwavering commitment to, listen to this, unwavering commitment to democracy, the rule of law, and this is the kicker, and the calling of tikkun olam, tikkun olam, repairing the world. Really? So you're telling me the commitment that Israel and the United States has is to repairing the world? Seriously? That's not the United States' job or Israel's job. That's the Lord will be the one who will not only, he's going to do more than just repair the world, he's going to establish his kingdom on this earth. I think it's laughable to think that any alliance of countries is somehow going to, quote unquote, repair the world. Again, I just can't see that the Lord would be fond of hearing that. So, and the leaders express appreciation to Minister Bennett, who led the most diverse government in Israel's history, and under whose leadership this extraordinary partnership has continued to grow stronger. Okay. So it goes on to talk about how the United States is pledging their commitment with Iran to not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon. Okay, but this is the part that's really interesting. If you believe that Israel will be entering into conflict with, the question is, will the United States of America be allied and in partnership? Now, I personally believe, based on prophecy, the United States is either not active in the end time events because it's not mentioned, or the United States is Babylon the Great and is going to be destroyed in an hour. So, if Israel attacks Iran, I believe that the United States will not be a part of that because the United States is not going to be able to be a part of it. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not sure if Bro Keegs agrees with this. It's not that the United States necessarily doesn't want to be a part of it, but they're not going to be able to be a part of it. And this could be for a few reasons. One is it could be that the United States economy just collapses and we're not going to be able to be involved in war. Another thing that could happen is just complete, I don't want to say complete and utter destruction of the United States, but the United States crippled because of either being attacked or something, a natural disaster, so to speak, where the United States won't be able to help out. If you ascribe Ezekiel 38:39, there's a possibility that if Israel attacks Iran, that's going to spark Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38:39, and we're going to be, those dominoes are going to start to fall and fall quickly. And that's going to be a big old mess. And if that becomes a big old mess, then we're gonna have a problem. So if the United States is not involved in this situation, then we're going to be, something's going to happen to this country. And something could happen to this country very soon. Because, let's face it, things are happening very quickly right in front of our eyes. And we could be at the door where great conflict happens, the match is lit, and the powder keg in the Middle East, the wick on the powder keg is lit, and there's going to be a massive explosion. So when we look further at this White House statement, this is the thing that really jumps out at you and makes you become extremely. Okay, this is towards the end of the document. It says the United States and Israel commit to continuing to discuss the challenges and opportunities in Israeli-Palestinian relations. The countries condemn the deplorable series of terrorist attacks against Israeli citizens in recent months and affirm the need to confront radical forces such as Hamas, seeking to inflame tension and instigate violence and terrorism. President Biden reaffirms his long-standing and consistent support of a two-state solution for advancing towards a reality in which Israelis and Palestinians alike can enjoy equal measures of security. There's that word security or safety, right? Freedom and prosperity. The United States stands ready to work with Israel, the Palestinian Authority, and regional stakeholders towards that strengthen the Palestinian economy, improve the quality of life for Palestinians. Right? So basically, the United States is pushing and promoting a two-state solution. And that's the part that should be most concerned. Because if that be the case, then when you start to divide the land that God has given to Israel, given to Abraham, you're asking for judgment. You're begging for judgment. And I'll tell you, you can't mess with God, and you can't mess with his land, and you can't mess with his people. This is a window where I think the Lord could possibly come in and say it's time for Israel to start and enter into the time of Jacob's trouble. They need to be disciplined. I need to address this nation who is chasing after others instead of chasing after the Lord. Folks, the recipes in the Old Testament, you see this over and over again. God has tried to reach out to his people Israel, and they chase after other gods, other countries, other allies, and they turn their back on God, and God acts on that. Read through the time of the judges and the time of the kings. It's not rocket science, guys. Deep theological fact. How's the buffering going? Is it bad, or is it you can understand what I'm saying? Okay. So my wife told me I should go and buy a new laptop. But the problem is that if I buy a new laptop now and we get harpazoed, then who's going to get my laptop, right? So if your wife gives you the green light on getting a laptop because she says my computer is very slow from 2014, so this laptop is slow, or maybe it's the internet service. But anyways, why should I go buy a laptop at Raptured and I'm not going to need a laptop anymore? Anyways, so what do you think I should do? Should I get a new laptop or should I just wait it out? So I'm going to put this as a should bro new laptop right it out. All right, so I'm going to put that for a survey because you can either way. But anyways, we're gonna let's get back to our discussion here. If you look at if you look at what just happened between Biden and Israel, um, I want to encourage you that this is, I don't know if I'm using the right word, encourage. Maybe I should say warn you that I am scared for this country, especially if this thing goes through, then and Israel becomes divides the land with the Palestinians. I feel sorry for this country or whomever has that happen. Okay, because we are. I'll tell you, if once the restrainer is removed, this country is in even bigger trouble. So when you think about where we're at and where all this could be heading, let's just say for ha-has that we get raptured and the Antichrist steps in shortly thereafter and takes all this stuff, Abraham Accords, United States Biden agreement, you know, all this stuff, and re confirms everything with many, allows Israel to build their temple, peace and safety, everything, everything is uh, possibly going to happen in a very short period of time. And so, if you're watching like I am, this is not the time to take a siesta. This is not the time to get discouraged. This is the time to keep your eyes peeled. And Wackadoodle will tell you that too. And it's good to see Derek and Aubriel. I hope your baby's doing well. But guys, we have been a family. We've been encouraging each other for a long time. Guys, things are not getting better. They are getting worse. We have, things are now going from, you know, the rubber band being stretched out a lot to it being stretched out to its snapping point. And I don't have any, I don't think I have any elastic bands near me, but I do have an old popsicle stick, and even a popsicle has a little bit of give to it, right? But if you bend it enough, see, if you bend it enough, it looks like it's going to bend, 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 bend. But at some point, you notice how like it just, at some point it gives, right? It started to make a U, but then at some point it just gives, okay? And that's what I'm saying is that we're kind of used. Now I have a whatchamacallit. This is a wooden coffee stirrer, right? Now we'll do this experiment again. You put pressure on something, right? And there, that's pretty good bend, right? Because it's a coffee stirrer. Did you see that? At some, you almost wonder, and then it goes. And that's what I believe that's going to happen here. Is when it snaps. Okay, and it doesn't happen slowly. It's going to happen bang, right? So look at what it says here. If we look at the scriptures, that's all we have to do is look at the scriptures, and we're in a good place when we look at God's word. First Thessalonians chapter 5. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You know, when my wife, I work at night for the most part. I work at night, and I had been seeing like 3 or 4 of my clients in a row, and it was a long night, and I got a text on my phone, and it said 911, 911, 911, 911 from my wife. Now, my wife could get a little bit, if she sees a mouse, that's going to be a 911, right? But I knew because she was in her range of the due date, 911 meant, I knew it meant baby's coming. Right now, I wasn't expecting it that night, but I knew it was around the time. And so it didn't matter. It was 9:30 at night. It didn't matter. But do you think my son was like, "Oh, Daddy had a long night. Daddy had a long night, so let's let's wait until the morning to break the water." No, it's 911. He wanted to come out. I wasn't going to get some sleep. I had to take my wife to the hospital, and that was that. In the same way, it's talking about in this section like a woman in travail. I mean, it just comes upon you, right? It says, when they say peace and safety, when they say peace and safety. And so let's see if we could find here in this document here. Okay, I'm going to look for the word for peace and security, right? I see Israel security is meant because security and safety are synonymous. They're synonyms, right? So I just found, okay, security once. Long-standing security relationship, that's two. Commitment to Israel's security. I'm not going to count anymore because I'll lose count. I want to see if I can find if there's even that important to the national security. That's like four. Of course, we see the words confirm and affirm in this document. Understanding on security assistance signed considers Israel's security. Enduring commitment to Israel's security again. Future those of other USA and Israel security partners. I love using that word security. Israel strategic peace treaties with Egypt and Jordan. The cause of regional security. Look, you got the words right here: security and peace. There's your peace and safety. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. And to expand the circle of peace to our Arab and Muslim states. Gotta love it. Just checking if there's any more. It looks like that might be it for the document, but there was quite a few. Quite a few. All right. So I proved my point there. That even in that statement alone, you see peace and security. Okay, let me just see how my poll's doing here. 65%. 65% saying need a new laptop. 35% write it out. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go with you guys. Even if we get harpazoed between now and the 9th of Av, somebody could use the laptop, right? And profit from that, right? So I think I'll break down and get a new laptop because I don't want to be known as the buffering king, the king of buffering. That would be not a good recognition to have. You guys are nice enough to tune in this late at night and then have to deal with buffering and choppiness is unfair. So thank you for the vote of confidence there. And like I said, if I get raptured, I'll try not to grab the laptop as I'm going up because it's okay for your clothes to fall to the ground, but you don't want your laptop to fall or your cell phone, right? So if it says here, for when they say, so when they, now they are the people that are not the church. or when they say, so it's not us, it's when people who don't belong to the family of God, when they say peace and safety, and you could replace safety with security if you like, peace and security, peace and safety, then, all right, so the indicator is saying peace and safety. It doesn't mean there will be peace and safety. It's just they're saying peace and safety. Then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Got it? So if you can't escape something, then it comes on you quickly. Because if you, even with me, out of shape and all, if you give me a heads up, I might be able to avoid danger. But if something happens suddenly, I'm toast. Right? I'm toast. So this could be, I'm not saying it is, but this could be the time when the harpazo can happen, because you could make an argument that peace and safety is being said. Okay? It doesn't necessarily say that the Antichrist will be saying peace and safety, or the false prophet, or, I mean, they could, and I know the false prophet has, if it's Pope Francis. But at the end of the day, it's really, it's really awesome to see that what God is saying is playing out, and playing out perfectly. All right? So I want you to be alert. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to not give up, because the Lord is coming. When? I do not know. Could it be this year? I can't say it can't. I can't say it can't. But you know what? You have other things going on, folks, this year that should keep you. See, you know what's interesting is I think it's like the laptop heard that I'm going to replace it, and now it's working well. Yeah, see, Coco Bear's got it. Not buffering now. Laptop, no, it's getting replaced. So when you look at the Middle East, you look at the conditions of the world. When you look at the economy of the world in the United States, when you look at inflation, all those things are pointing to problem times. When you look at the morality of the world, when you look at the division and the fighting and the coldness of heart, you have to say, we're right there. When you look at the different buggies, when you look at the World Economic Forum, when you look at the NWO, when you look at Build Back Better, when you look at the price of gas, when you look at the lack of belief in the Word of God and in Jesus, you have to believe we're very close. When you look at and listen to those who are saying, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming, that too, my friends, is indicative that he's coming back soon. When you see the important lakes drying up, when you see scorching heat and drought, when you see earthquakes in diverse places, we know that Jesus is coming soon. When you see the world ready to do whatever it takes in order for them to keep their bread and circus, you know that the Lord's coming back soon. So everything's set up. I've been there. I've done that. I know it's difficult. But that's why we hang in, because Jesus keeps his promises. He always does, and he always has, and he always will. Jesus is coming back. You can be sure about that. And you want to know something? This is the hope that we have. That Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And all he could do is speak the truth. And when Jesus said he was going to prepare a place for us, he meant it. He meant it. We need to believe in him and trust in him. We all have a very serious problem. It's called sin. We all have it. Jesus came down to earth. God took on flesh, lived a perfect, sinless life, voluntarily went to the cross, gave up his life for us, shed his precious blood for the remission of sin, physically died, was buried, and rose again. Do you believe in him? Do you trust in him? Because that's what's needed to be saved, is what he did, not what we think we need to do. And praise be to God, he's coming back. Are you ready? Are you ready to endure a little bit longer? Because guess what, folks? Times are not going to get better. It's just going to keep getting worse. And how much worse can it get? So here it is. We're in the middle of 2022, and we're still here. And there's no reason why we can't be going tonight or tomorrow or next week or next month. We have to finish strong. So let's finish strong together. Let's hold each other's hands. I'm trying not to be corny here. As brothers and sisters, let's hold each other's hands and help each other cross the finish line. Okay? So thank you for tuning in. I look forward to meeting all of you. And of course, I hope to see you here, there, especially in the air. God bless.